So you were talking about learning to say no was quite a hard lesson for you. Is that one of the things that you wish you'd known first when you first started?
I think I did. I was aware of it. I did know. It's one of the things that every person that runs their own business says, and they all say it's the hardest lesson to learn. And they're right. So I was aware of it. I knew about it, but it took me a while to get there. But I think every person that works for themselves would say the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some of it is down to when you first start out, you don't want to turn work away.
I think that is what a lot of it is.
Because you want the business to work.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, you're saying yes to too many wrong things. Mm-hmm. And then you just kind of crack up one day with the stress.
Yes.
So it maybe just gets to that point where everybody has to go through that. You know what? This is not working.
I think it's the learning curve that everybody's got to kind of hit. And your point for saying no would be different to my point.
Yeah.
You know, you might look and say, well, I would have agreed to that. I would have taken on that. I would have refused that one. And, you know, how you measure what you're willing to do or able to do would be different to how I would. So I do think it's something that's personal and everybody learns it themselves the hard way. Yeah,
you're quite right. Because, well, like we said before, every business is unique. Mm-hmm. Every owner is unique, and how that owner kind of works out what works for them is, again, completely unique. So exactly. Yeah, you're right. Is there anything else that you any big lessons that you learned along the way that would have been helpful?
I did when I was at the point of being ready to trade, where environmental health had been in and trading standards had been in, and I'd kind of met all their approvals and all that kind of stuff. I did go to Business Gateway with, a list of, these are the things that I feel I need help with, and they were worse than useless.
Okay.
I did, however...
Maybe I just had the wrong person.
Well, yeah, it would kind of appear to be the case. They actually told me I needed a website and not to bother going back, because she didn't generally see people. But I could email her if I had any issues, and here's a list of the workshops that they do. And I kind of came away thinking, okay, how do I do this? Where do I go? I think if I realised that there was so much work involved that took me away from doing what I wanted to do, I probably wouldn't have done it, to be honest.
Well, that's interesting.
There's so much. I'm not a PR person. Like I say, I'd never had a social media account to learn how to sell myself, which sounds terrible, but, there was... and you could be responding to social media on its own 24 hours a day.
Oh yeah, could take your life.
To begin with, I did. The tablet came to bed with me, and every time it pinged, it woke me, and I responded to whoever it was, wherever they were in the world. And I learnt that one the hard way as well. But there's all the paperwork, there's all the forms to fill in if you want to go to market or something like that. There's the accounts, there's the delivering. But sometimes when you go out to deliver, people are really, really friendly. They want to talk that much that you end up there for an hour. Other times it's like you are the pizza delivery person, and they just throw the money at you and slam the door in your face, and they don't even speak to you.
Okay.
You do get both extremes among people. But, all that kind of stuff all takes time. And that's time away from... The days of make it, sell it are gone. There's so much you've got to comply with.
Are you saying then, had you known everything back then, you might not have even started?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting, because I recently read an article where it was some posh school that had an entrepreneurs course,
right.
And they found that by teaching the entrepreneur, or the students who wants to be entrepreneurs, all that they could about business, most of them went and got a job.
I can totally understand that. you are responsible for everything, and that the buck stops entirely with you, and that is making the product, marketing the product, managing customers and their expectations. It's dispatch, it's marketing, it's PR, it's accounts, it's making sure you comply with all the legislation. I mean, you know, the legislation even gets to the point where the size of the text on the labels had to be approved by trading standards, and environmental health, and you know, there was so much. I spent hours reading the food legislation, probably weeks actually, and most of it was in legalese. But you know, yes, when it comes to medicine, I'm fluent, but the legal stuff, no, I didn't understand most of it, and I had to learn all that. And no, I think if I'd known that there was so much to it, I would never have done it.
Is your advice then to, if you really want to do something, just go and do it, just start it and find out stuff along the way?
Yes, but I think if you do that, there is a chance that you might realise that actually it's not for you.
Okay.
You know, I started working when I was 2 weeks after my 12th birthday. I worked in the newsagents at the bottom of the road. That's really another kind of, you know, I was in charge of the penny sweeties and making up the mixtures. That's another kind of where my sweet tooth kind of came from as well. But I've always worked as a team. I've always quickly, I left school at 16, not through choice, long story, and ended up dental nursing, and by the time I left there when I was 18, I was a senior, kind of managing all the other dental nurses, even though I was the youngest. And I've always kind of ended up in the management, kind of more senior roles, and led a team. And then to suddenly be completely on your own.
That's hard.
You know, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it's lonely, because it's not. And I am a person that's quite happy with my own company. And if I'm not, then I'll read a book. But, you know, you do spend a lot of time on your own. You have to.
Mm-hmm.
You could try and do the accounts in front of the telly, but you're going to be distracted. You need to go off into a corner.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people realise how much work goes on behind the scenes. And having spoken to people that work for themselves, and everything from crafting to a photographer that spends 40 hours editing pictures after they've been taken,
mm-hmm.
Nobody kind of realises how much work goes on behind the scenes.
No, not unless you've been there yourself. Yeah. You won't.
You know, yes, I did my homework, and I knew that I was going to have to comply with legislation to make this product, and I knew that people liked the product, but that was all I knew. And if I'd known how much it was going to take over my life, and how many different things I would need to know a wee bit about, that, like I said, when it comes to the website, I've no interest in learning. And that's me being honest.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried several times to learn, but I don't want to. And if you don't want to, you're not going to.
No.
So, you know, unless you're willing to obviously outsource lots, unless you're able and in a position to outsource lots of different things, until you start making money, enough money to keep you going and have spare to pay other people, you're responsible for everything.
Does that not give you a sense of pride though, thinking back that you have
There's no doubt about that.
All of this now? There's
no doubt about it. You know, when I started, I had never even considered making boiled sweets. And I've had master chefs taste and give out, you know, send me positive feedback. Bloggers from all over the world, all different kind of, you know, I've had so much amazing feedback, and that is brilliant. You know, mm-hmm. the big reward is when you get that feedback, or better still, when you're standing at a market, somebody tries one of your products and their face lights up. That makes every minute of hard work and tears and everything worth it. It really, really does. But it is easier to work for somebody else and let them do all the paperwork.
Yeah, and I would totally agree with you. I would totally agree with you on that. So maybe, I don't know, would some of that advice be, if you're going to start a business, make sure it's something that you love doing?
It would have to be, yeah. If it's not something you love, it's probably not going to work. It has to be something that you're passionate about and that you're willing to have it take over your life until you are at the point where it's doing well enough to run without you, or you can employ other people. It's going to be an awful lot. The best the easiest way to sum it up is, it's Friday, I'll wait and run my own business.
Yeah.
That kind of says it all, and it's so true.
Yeah. What is a bank holiday?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what day of the week it is, and if you are crafting or making a food product, the chances are that your busiest time is going to be towards the end of the week, because you're either going to be going to a market, or you're going to be making stuff for an event, which is on at the weekend. So if you're really lucky, you might get a Monday off. Maybe really, really manage to organise yourself well enough.
Yeah.
But then there's all the networking and the meetings that you have to do, and those things were things I'd never considered.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of other stuff that just consumes an awful lot of time. And
those things and that learning never stops. There's always something new. Right now, everybody's talking about Instagram at the minute. It's the place to be.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm not there yet.
I have an account.
Yep.
I post pictures. I know somebody who she's based in London and she makes chocolate products, and her Twitter following is tiny. Mine's is over 2,000 now. Her Facebook following is a couple of hundred, but her Instagram following is in the tens of thousands. She posts a picture, she gets at least 300 likes in every picture. Plus, she'll get 20 comments asking for orders. And that is where she does all of her business. And she obviously from there directs them to her shop. I have tried, and I can't figure out how it works.
Well, there's a couple of different thoughts to that, in that, well, where's your target market? Are they even on Instagram?
Exactly.
And if you're already getting the business that you need off of the channels that you're comfortable with. And the other thing is, usually the people, especially when you're in the artisan industry where you kind of know your customers quite intimately, they quite often tend to be on the same media channels as you are, because you have similar interests. So one of the things that I do maybe recommend to people is find where you're comfortable and concentrate on that, and you don't always have to follow the fads unless your target market has left en masse and gone with one of the latest fads.
I have noticed a change in Twitter. I used to I would ask a question and I would get 10 different people responding and would have a conversation, and those people were my customers, and at the end of that maybe I would tweak a product as a result. You don't get that same banter and conversation. You can't spend hours responding to people and get answers coming back now. People will still retweet, favourite just as much as what they did 2 years ago. They will still send me a direct message placing an order, and now you don't have to be following them for them to be able to message you. So I actually get more orders directly through Twitter than what I did before. But that conversation is gone. That conversation seems to happen more on Instagram now.
So you are seeing a change?
Yes. Not in the level of business that I'm doing, but in the level of interaction between my customers. I mean, I asked last night on Facebook and Twitter for, I'm one of the rare folk that doesn't like gin. And I was looking for, I've never actually made gin-based cocktail boiled sweets, because I didn't realise that I could get the gin extract, but it turns out I can. So I put out suggestions for cocktails Twitter, I didn't get any responses.
So where did you get the responses? All on
Facebook.
Facebook?
I didn't bother putting it on Instagram because it doesn't matter what I post on there. I don't usually, I think I've only got about 30 or 40 followers or something. And when I post a picture, it's all hashtag led. You'll get lots of random from maybe somebody in Sweden or somebody in Japan will like your picture that's maybe based on one of the hashtags that you've used.
Great.
But they don't follow you as a result of it, and you never see or hear from them again. I think a lot of it is that people search for the hashtag and it's finding the hashtags that work for you. But I didn't see the point in posting it on there as well because I've never had any kind of interaction. But it seems to be that I might need to learn.
You might, as long as your number or the amount of orders that you're getting off the current channels, if that starts dropping, and
I might have.
You might want to consider it. But that's interesting to know that the other girl that you're talking that does the chocolates gets a lot.
I've not actually spoken to her face to face, but she was about 6 months behind me setting up, and she kind of got in touch and asked, how I manage sending orders abroad, and we've kind of had a behind the scenes as two business owners dialogue going for a while, and I've messaged her saying, how do you do it? And she says, I don't know. Doesn't work. What I post the same pictures on the other social media sites with the same stuff,
doesn't work.
And it doesn't work, but on Instagram it does. So it's a strange one. It's
Well, as long as your target market is still where they were.
For the now, but I do
that's
expect
interesting.
that to change.
It's interesting that you're saying that the interaction side has changed.
Definitely.
So maybe it's one worth noting for all of us that the way people are using Twitter has changed over the past couple of years.
Even the networking hours on Twitter, DG hour is gone as far as I'm aware, which was the Dumfries and Galloway hour.
Yep.
The woman that runs DG Food and Drink tried and tried and tried to set up an Eat DG hour for local food producers. 2 months ago I set a timer up for it because it had run for a couple of months and I'd forgotten about it. Set a timer. I was the only person that turned up for it. Last month I think there was about 3 of us that turned up for it, but those that did appear were kind of late, and by the point that the other people kind of appeared, it had been discarded. The questions she'd switched off the questions because she said, well, there's no point because there's nobody answering them. Whereas 2 years ago there would have been 20 or 30 local food producers there. Even the Scotland hours and the Eat Scotland hours are quietening down considerably. But that's where there's interaction. Everybody still, if the hour starts at 8 o'clock, at 8:05, everybody in Scotland that's a food producer will put out a tweet saying, I'm so-and-so, I'm based here and this is what I make with a picture. And they'll send that out, but there won't then be any other responses from them.
Yeah.
They kind of come along, shout about who they are and what they do, and then just disappear. And you probably find that actually it was a scheduled tweet and that they've no intention of being there to network or interact at all. That has really changed, and I don't think that I would be the only person that says that.
I must admit, I have kind of walked away a little bit from Twitter, partly because of that. I don't get the same interaction. And this is partly because of the business that I'm in. I'm finding LinkedIn at the moment I get more interaction. That's purely because of my target market. I think most of them happen to be in LinkedIn. But yeah, Twitter for me kind of died a bit. Facebook is still okay.
I'm finding Facebook better and better and better actually, which is going against the trend of what most people say. Yes, oftentimes the reach on a post is really poor. I'm one of the few that doesn't complain about their advertising costs.
Do you do the paid?
Very occasionally, if I've got a new menu coming out, or for example, the last time I've only put out 2 paid posts recently. The last one was prior to Christmas, when I'd finished all my markets for the year and I knew that what stock I still had left. I put out a promoted post saying, this is what Christmas stock I've got available, because I was closing for at least the whole of January, and I didn't want to be left with mince pie and eggnog flavoured sweets that nobody was going to want come February when I started again. So I kind of looked on it and I thought, right, I sell everything at £3 a bag. I set my budget at £6 for Facebook advertising, and I boosted that post, and I sold a couple of 100 bags of sweets. Post was seen by about 25,000 people, and I did kind of target it locally but also to the rest of Scotland. And I sold all my stock, and it cost me £6, 2 bags of sweeties. So to get 25,000 eyes seeing something, you don't get advertising cheaper than that anywhere else.
No, and I do think that the likes of Facebook advertising, because you can target it so well, it's one of the best returns on investment if you take out there.
I've only done it an odd time, and generally speaking I target it kind of regionally and then Scotland wide. I leave the age range completely open, I leave male female completely open. I've never tried going in and drilling down, because I only do it very occasionally, because you do find that if you do it, like when I launched my new kind of permanent menu in April, I did another one and it was the same budget, it was 2 bags of sweeties, and within an hour of that post going out, although my following did know that was coming because I'd built it up and done quite a bit of PR that week before to say the new menu's going to go live, it was seen by over 100,000. It's
really good value for money.
You know, within an hour I'd sold everything that I'd made for the launch, and I kind of thought, how big is this going to go? But you know, local TV is going to cost you a damn sight more than that for an advert on the TV. Even going into a local press, you know, you're looking at a couple of £100.
Yep.
100 minimum for a decent sized advert. You know, using the targeted adverts on Facebook, people are sitting in their homes, it's just a click on a button and that's it done, isn't it? And I have found it beneficial. But then you've got to accept that Facebook will punish you as a result of that. You know, that one post will be seen by thousands or hundreds of thousands, but then your next post will only be seen by 12. And then your next will only be seen by 6. And it's like they know that you've paid, so they want you to pay again. And
it's all geared towards them now making money.
They are a business.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to kind of be prepared for, you pay, not only are you going to pay with cash, you're going to suffer for doing it, and you're going to have to fight Facebook to get over it once you've done it.
Yeah.
And it's how you go about doing that.
Well, that's a really interesting tidbit on Facebook, and I think it's worth people having a wee think about, actually, because I think maybe some businesses are missing a trick. I like the way you equate that, 2 bags of sweeties. That's my my budget.
I never make the budget any more than that. It doesn't matter how many I've got to sell. It's in my head. My budget's £6. Whether I run the advert for 1 day or for 6 days at £1 a day, because £1 a day is the minimum you can set it.
Yeah.
That depends what I feel like at the time that I press the button, but that's my budget and I stick to it.
And for that amount of money, it's worth just trying it to see what happens.
Yeah. And then when Facebook do start punishing me with the whole, we're going to limit your reach, then I'll do a giveaway. And I'll put out a competition. Anybody that spots the car and posts a picture of the car with the wee sweetie decals on it gets a bag of sweeties, or comment on this, or sometimes I will put out a post saying Facebook are being really mean and not letting me see anything, give me a wave. That works as well. You know, you've kind of got to do one or the other too.
Yeah.
And either way, it brings your numbers back up and then you're back to where you were before.
Yeah.
But initially, Facebook will try and get you to fall into the trap of paying and paying and better paying.
Yeah.
You have to figure out how you're going to beat them at that game.
That is some really good advice. Well, thank you, Donna. We're going to post up your Facebook page and your website so that people can contact you, and you can give us a note of probably a couple of dates of where you're going to be at markets next. We'll put that up as well. And thank you very much for talking to us. It's been great, very interesting.